Hello and welcome to Jesus for Asia Now. I'm Natalie Wood, and today I'd like you to meet my friend Lisa, who works in Thailand. Welcome to the show, Lisa.
Thank you.
We want to talk today about the work that you're doing out in the jungle in Thailand. And so share with us maybe a little bit of the history. I know we've had you on the show before, but if you'd summarize for us how you ended up in Thailand, maybe that would be a good place to start.
We started out going to Thailand to visit our sons who were doing mission work and to just visit them and kind of visit the projects. And we ended up staying because we saw the great need there. And along the way, right away, God started sending us children to take care of. And so it kind of started from there.
So what do you mean people were sending you children? What do you mean by that?
Well, there was a lot of children that were abandoned or didn't have families that could take care of them, and so people would bring these children to us. So we've got 6 girls that we've taken in through the years, and we've raised them. We've been there for almost 10 years now.
Wow.
So we're down to only 2 left in our home.
And now you have a new child, not a human child.
No, I have a pet monkey, a baby monkey.
Isn't that worse than children?
Yes.
Okay.
But still a lot of fun.
Okay, and you're enjoying that.
Yep.
I don't think I'd want to have a monkey for a pet.
I love having a monkey for a pet. He's a real sweetheart.
Okay.
When he's not biting.
Uh-oh. Stop biting, monkey, stop biting. The Lord has taken you through a couple of different phases of ministry, and now you have a block home. We have a picture of your home, and you've added on to your home.
Yes, it happened quite suddenly too, because, a couple of years ago when we were talking about it, I said that it was kind of my dream to have like a lifestyle clinic or, something where we could really help the villagers with their health. But I didn't see how that was ever possible. It's just me. I'm just an EMT and I don't really know what I'm doing. But anyway, God just opened it up. He's taught me a lot just by trying. And then he sent me a nurse. Shortly after, our nurse came to stay with us. She was actually gone. But one night, a man came and knocked on our door, on our bedroom door, late at night, which almost never happens. And he said, "Come quick, my wife she can't sleep, she's going to die." And I was like, "She can't sleep, she's going to die?"
You feel that tired sometimes.
Yeah. Anyway,
what's really going on? You never know, do you, when they call you?
No, we don't know. And if it's at night, they're usually very respectful. And so if it's at night, that's a pretty serious thing. So I got my daughter to translate for me, and we jumped on the motorbike and went into her house. And you could see that she wasn't doing well, but to try to figure out what was wrong with her was really difficult. They said something was wrong with her inside, something wasn't working, and she'd been in the hospital, and she was going to die if we didn't help her. And I just, I'm not a doctor. I didn't really understand what was wrong, but I gave her some melatonin, just give her something to help her sleep. And I was trying to figure out what it was that they were talking about. Well, the next day, Carrie came back, and so I took her over there, and we talked to them together, and we still couldn't figure it out. And so we finally decided that Carrie would go down to the hospital with the grandma and find out what was wrong.
Oh, okay.
And so she did. She took her to the hospital, and she found out that this grandma had uremia, and her kidneys were just like shut down because of high blood pressure. And the hospital was saying that she had to have dialysis, but the family was saying the closest place where they could get dialysis was like 5 hours away. And the family was not willing to do that because they don't have money for travel. They had no place to stay. They don't know anybody there. And in Asia...
Isn't it multiple times a week, too?
Yeah, for her, it would have been.
Wow.
And so we suddenly thought of the plan of we had designed a bath area next to the house when we had thought we were going to have a school. It was quite large. And suddenly we just thought, if we turned that into a clinic, like into a hydrotherapy room, and then built an office on the other side and a storage room back there, we could have our clinic and we could take care of her right now. So some of us went to town, bought bathtubs. The others we got busy and we poured cement on the floor and we finished the rock pillars and we put a roof on. And within 3 weeks, we had a lifestyle clinic and an office. And the office took a little bit longer, but it was amazing how fast God pulled it together. And she came every day. And the first day she came, she had a whole group of family members kind of like hanging on to her and trying to help her down the sidewalk, and she could hardly walk, and she was just like dragging. And by the third day, she was just trekking down that sidewalk, and the family members were kind of like chasing her down. I'm like, wow, it really was. I mean, it was amazing the difference just 3 days did for her.
Wow.
And we didn't know what to do for uremia, so we looked it up in a book, and it said to give her hot baths and to rub her kidneys with ice. And I mean, it was like simple. Just give her a bath, give her some charcoal, twice a day, every day. And now it's getting close to a year later, and she's still alive.
Wow. So God is blessing the simple remedies.
He has. There's a quote I read, I can't quote it, but anyway, it says that when we do what we know, which I have to admit isn't much, that God makes up the rest. And I'm seeing that He's healing people, not just her, but as soon as she started coming, other people started coming. And, we've done up to 7 different, hydrotherapy treatments in one day.
Wow.
When you consider each treatment is about an hour, that's a lot.
That's a lot. And considering that you have to go to town to buy ice.
Yes.
And considering that, now you have a wood stove that Jason has welded together with the water jacket and everything to make the boiling water. But before, it was a big pot on an open fire.
A lot of work.
Lots of dippers.
Yes.
So
yeah, Jason really helped us a lot because he built the wood stove and he put it in a hot water tank. So now I have hot running water on demand. I just have to build the fire every morning, and I've got a patient bed and a massage table and 2 tubs for the treatments. And it's just, it happens so suddenly. It's amazing how God works, and He just prepared that way for us.
He had it ready.
Yeah.
I know you want to share what happens with the monkey when Grandma comes for her bath. So why don't we go ahead and do that, and then we can move on to another story.
Okay. We discovered that our monkey loves to swim in hot water. He hates cold water, but he's a little baby monkey. He was only about this tall. And I was actually doing a hot foot bath on my husband because he had had an accident, and my monkey stuck his foot in the water, or his hand, and he was like, ooh, that feels good. Pretty soon he was in the foot bath with my husband's feet and swimming around in it, the little swimming thing. Well, then he was out in the clinic with me when I was treating Grandma, and he looked at that water and he was like, so he sticks his paw in there, or foot, whatever it is, and he liked it. So he jumped right in the water and started swimming around the tub with Grandma, and she just got such a kick out of that. She loved it. I was like all worried, oh no, my monkey is swimming with Grandma, but she loved it.
She loved it.
He's become kind of like our entertainment division for the clinic. We built a big cage for him right in front of the clinic where the patients can sit in the tub and watch the monkey. He's part of the crew.
Yeah. Well, that's good. We'll just have to pray he doesn't bite people.
Yeah. Well, we keep him caged up for that very reason, because they do bite.
Yeah. But he's not tame.
No.
Even though he's a little bit maybe domesticated, but he's not tame.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, do you have any other stories? I know that sometimes you have to take food to some of the villagers.
Yeah, there's quite a few families in the village that they're older, they can't work in the rice fields anymore, and so we feed them every week. Just take rice and vegetables and things to them, and make sure they have blankets and firewood and whatever it is that they need so that they can be comfortable when they're too old to work and earn money for themselves. And our patient base has grown to, like, I don't remember how many villages we counted last time,
So
but
it's
broadening out where people drive hours or walk hours to get to our clinic. And
wow.
it's amazing. Oh, and we had this man come into the clinic, and it was a super busy day, so there was a lot of people there. And he had tennis elbow, and he's been clearing his rice fields, and he'd been working so hard with no break, because he knew it hurt for a while, but he couldn't stop, because if they don't clear their rice fields, they're not going to eat this next year. So he came in where
and then if it rains before he gets it done, then it ruins the rice.
You can't rest.
If it gets too old, then it ruins the rice.
Exactly.
So, wow.
Well, I have tennis elbow too, and I'd been trying to get rid of it for a whole year, and so I'm like, oh no. I mean, I told him what the books say. I'm like, well, the books say you're supposed to rest it and not use it. And as I'm telling him this, I'm thinking, this is ridiculous.
He has to work in his field.
He has to work. He has to feed his family. But, I mean, what am I supposed to do? I know how hard it is to get rid of tennis elbow. It's not an easy one. For me, anyway. It hasn't been easy. But I remembered something my dad had told me. And so I was telling Carrie, because Carrie was taking care of him. I said, hey, just, push around in here and see if you can find any sore spots. And then just hold them for a few minutes. And she's like, what? I mean, how do I find the sore spot? And I'm like, I don't know. Because at this point, she didn't speak Karen yet. So she couldn't talk to him. Yeah. So she's just feeling around, and she's like, I don't think I can do this. I don't feel anything. And so then she put some ice on it for a couple of minutes. And then she went in and we got him a wrist brace, because we thought maybe, if we like this, maybe he could still work that way. And we told him, I said, I don't know what to tell you, because unless you can rest it, it's probably not going to get well. But we did our best, and we prayed for him and sent him on his way. And both Carrie and I were just feeling sick. It's like, you just feel sick. You feel like you've done nothing. We can't help him. Yeah. We did our best, but there's nothing we can do.
Nothing to offer. Yeah.
So a couple of days later, Carrie went to the village to feed the old people, and she thought she'd just run and check on him and see if he decided to rest at all or how he was doing. And she found him in his hut, and he didn't have the wrist brace on. And she's like, Uncle, why don't you have the wrist brace on? And he's like, oh, I don't need it anymore. She's like, yes, you do. You really need it if you're going to be working in your fields. You need to use that. And he's like, no. He said, what you did fixed my arm. I can work it. No pain. No pain. I'm like, what?
We didn't do anything.
We didn't do anything.
But God did.
Yeah.
He answered prayers.
And that's what we're seeing almost every day is, we do the little tiny bits that we can do, and God does the rest. And it's incredible to see that.
Wow, that's awesome. So what about regular living and about food out there? Do you grow your own food, or do you have a garden, or how do you deal with food?
We do. We, last year or the year before, actually it was the year before, one of the grandpas in the village gave us his rice field to use and helped us learn how to plant rice and how to grow it. And so we have around 30, I think. I could be wrong, but I think it's around 30 rice paddies that we plant and harvest every year. That helps us feed the older people in the village so that it's not quite so expensive for the rice.
Yeah.
And then we also built a garden area next to our house, kind of a large one where we have a pretty big orchard in there of mostly papaya. And we have bananas and, all kinds of fruit trees. And then we're working on building up the soil so that we can actually grow the food for the villagers, because they use a lot of pesticides on the vegetables over there, and it's not so great for our health. And so that's one of the things that we're trying to do to cut costs and to help more people around us. And as we work on the rice fields and we learn better ways of doing things, then we can teach them. And they're really excited about that. really excited about that.
Wow, that's awesome.
We're not real good at it yet, but we have learned a few things that have been really helpful.
Wow, that's really neat. So doing the medical work and learning how to garden and helping people with food, is this opening doors in the village, or what have you seen as far as?
It is. It's gotten us into an awful lot more houses. In fact, we've had a branch Sabbath school in 2 of the villages that opened up because of the medical work. And we go there every Sabbath. Our Sabbaths can be really busy sometimes, going to village to do little Sabbath schools. And one of the things that really, really surprised me recently is we were at one of our branch Sabbath schools, and the people there were talking to us, not to me personally because I don't understand the language very well, but he was talking to my children, and they were saying, everybody says to go to your clinic because everybody gets well when they go there. And I didn't know that until they weren't the only ones who said that, but I've heard that several times now from different villages. And so people will walk or drive for hours to get to our clinic when there's hospitals and there's other places they could go. But I think that just living the life of Christ and showing the people love and doing the teeny tiny bit that we know how to do opens the doors, and they know we care about them, and so they come.
Wow. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I know that you've got a miracle story that we should have you share. And it's about a trip to a village for medical care, right? Or was it to take food?
Carrie and Mimi had to go to the village of Gaduki to do, they were doing a medical clinic there every week. And it was a really busy day. They'd already passed out food baskets, so they got a little bit of a late start to go to the medical clinic. But so they took our truck, and I'd warned them, the lights on the truck don't work, and so you got to be home early. But they get to this clinic, and the people are just pouring into the houses. There's so many needs, and the people are just begging them, "Oh, stay and eat with us." And so anyway, time got away from them accidentally. And they left the village right about the time the sun goes down.
Wow.
And so they weren't able to go very far at all when it was dark. Pitch dark. It's during rainy season, so it was pitch dark.
There's no sky with
There's
stars.
no stars, no moon,
Wow.
nothing. It was pitch dark. So Mimi got into the back of the truck, and she was holding Carrie's cell phone with a light on it up above the truck, kind of trying to show Carrie where the road was with her cell phone.
Wow.
And evidently Carrie thought that the road went straight when the road actually goes around like this. And this is like a steep drop off right there.
Oh, wow.
And so she went over there, and the truck just slid over like that on its side. And Mimi jumped. She jumped out the back, the tailgate, and climbed up onto the road, and she was just shaking. She was like, "Carrie, get out of the truck." Carrie was thinking, maybe I can drive out. Now that's an optimist for you, because she's on the side, on the side. And she tried, and it started to slide down further. And so she jumped. She had to climb out through the window up above her, the side window, and she climbed up on the road. And then she's looking at the truck, and she's like, "We got to go for help."
Yeah, there's no way we're going to get this out of here.
No way. And she told me that Jason and Carrie had gone to get the truck. And so I'm thinking, well, it couldn't have been that bad. And so I was trying to calm her down. I got her calmed down and put her to bed. And then I wandered up to the house to see if Shoshana knew anything more about it. And so I went up there, and Shoshana's like, "I don't know either, And finally we decided that Shoshana would take the motorbike and run up there and see if she could find out what was happening. And so she did. And then she brought Carrie back. And Carrie's like, "We got to have another truck. We can't get it out with just Travis's truck," which we had with us, which has a winch on the front. But we couldn't get it out with the winch. And so we went and got the head woman's truck next door, and we took the head woman's truck back down to where the truck was. And when I was talking to Mimi, she had told me, she said, Mommy, the top wheels are not even on the ground.
Wow.
And so when I got there, it's dark, but I had my flashlight. And so I was looking at the truck, and they were touching the ground, but just barely. It's like, it looked like I could just reach under it and scrape out the dirt because it was soft from the rain. And I was scared to death because they were telling me, you got to drive the head woman's truck, and Jason's going to drive Travis's truck, and we're going to pull it out. Well, on the one side is the bank, so it goes up, and on the other side is the drop off, and it's a single lane road with two trucks side by side, just like that far apart from each other. And
barely missing the edges on both sides.
Yeah, and I'm thinking if I don't pull exactly right, Travis's truck is going to go over the edge.
Wow.
And Jason was in Travis's truck, and there's a bank right behind me, so if I go too far, I'm going to run into the bank. And I was
stressful,
terrified.
Yeah,
I was really scared. So I got into the truck and just shaking, it's like, and so I started praying and singing. I can't remember the song at the moment that I was singing, but anyway, I was praying and singing. And it was like, as soon as Jason said go, it was almost like the angels just took over. Suddenly it was just calm, and I could just do what I was supposed to do and not be afraid. And it was so amazing. And it was so amazing to me. I was just like blown away by that because it was such an extreme change from shaking and scared to death to I can do this, just like that.
Wow.
Anyway, but we got it like a couple of feet, and then it ran into this little stump. And it's just a little stump, but it stopped it, and both trucks together couldn't get it out.
Wow.
So Jason told me, he said, find a machete. I got to have a machete. And, we got one truck over the edge, and we got both of the other trucks hooked up to the truck that's over the edge. So there's nothing, I can't run back to the house and run back to get a machete.
Right.
And so I searched all the trucks, couldn't find a machete.
Oh.
And I was praying, Lord, we need a machete. We really need a machete. And I know that you can send us one. And so I prayed that prayer, and then I thought, well, I need to show faith. So I'm looking around on the ground. Are there any machetes out here? Maybe somebody dropped one, you don't know.
Never know.
And just about then, I heard this motorbike coming, and it roared up, parked right behind the trucks, and then these two guys jumped off the motorbike and walked over to where we were, and they were carrying Corinne bags, and in each Corinne bag was a machete. And
God
later,
sent the machetes.
He did. I was like, wow, God answered my prayer just like that. It was so amazing. And then they went over and they were examining the truck. And then when they finished and they got up, I said to them in English, I said, we need to cut out a stump. We need to use your machetes. And they looked at me, and it was like they understood me, and they looked at the stump, and they ran over there and chopped it out. And I thought,
wow,
did they understand me? I mean, I still don't know if they did or not, but
wow.
I didn't think that they would have been able to do that just from what I said.
Wow.
But anyway, I felt like God answered that prayer
God guided
too.
them anyway.
Yeah.
Whether they understood you or the angel told them, look, there's a stump there.
Yeah.
Anyway, wow.
Anyway, so they chopped out the stump. We were able to pull the truck right out. But when we got the truck out, that's when it was really amazing. Because once we got it out, we took our flashlights over and we looked at the tracks. And we were expecting, it's rainy season, soft mud. We were expecting to see something that the truck was leaning against. Or we were expecting to see tracks, where the bottom tires would have dug into the dirt because it was soft all the way down. But there weren't any. There were no bottom tracks. So if the top wheels were barely touching the ground and the bottom wheels were not on the ground, what was holding
And there was
the
nothing holding it up.
There was no trees, nothing to hold the truck
bushes,
there. There
yeah.
was nothing except for a little bit of loose brush. But if you even stepped on it, the brush just went sliding down the hill. So we all looked at it. The two men from the village, they looked at it and they said, your God must have done this because you do so many good works.
Wow.
And we're like, no, if you asked our God to help you, he'd help you too.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so it was the talk of the village for weeks because those two witnessed it with their own eyes. It wasn't just us saying what happened, but everybody would go and they'd look and there's no tracks down there.
Wow.
Even when we pulled it out, there was no tracks on the bottom side. Anyway, so the whole thing really strengthened our faith. It was just an incredible experience.
Wow.
You could definitely see God's hand in the whole thing.
Yeah. Wow. So Carrie knows she's supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And that God has protected her and Mimi too.
And Mimi too.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad God saved them.
Yeah.
Because I know that they both have a work to do for him.
He has a big work for them.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you coming and sharing these stories today. And it's really encouraging to me. And I'm just wondering, do you have anything you'd like to say, like, to our viewers about your opportunity to serve and what that's done in your life? Do you want to have any?
It's been an incredible faith-building experience. It really has. I think that God gives us work to do for him because not only are we showing other people what God is like, but it's actually helping us too. If we are walking in Jesus' footsteps, we're really close to him. It's so exciting to see how God works in us and in them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's definitely a life-changing experience.
For sure. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I know you're extra tired and you're traveling back to Thailand tonight.
Yes.
But I really appreciate you stopping by and sharing the stories with us. And I would like to invite our viewers to pray for the Sharon family. Pray for Lisa and her family as they're out there working and as the Lord is opening various doors for them. And we'll be having some further shows so you can see some other things that the Lord is leading them to do to help the people out there to know him. If you would like to give for this ministry, you can contact us at Jesus for Asia, P.O. Box 1221, Collegedale, Tennessee 37315. Call us at 423-413-7321 or visit our website at jesusforasia.org. May God richly bless you until we see you next time on Jesus for Asia Now.